Very much people live their entire lives working, getting home from work, being so fatigued from work that they don't really get much else done. So they feel like they're living just to work, just to earn money, just to pay the bills. So guys, today we are training some push. Now, I definitely think push is one of my favourite sessions because I love chasing to grow a bigger chest. Now, there's nothing in particular that grows a chest. There's no one exercise that gets you a massive chest. It is simply just making sure that you've got a range of chest exercises. And I very much favour making sure I've got some like incline pressing in. So like barbell, dumbbell here. Dumbbell has been my favourite for the last like 6 months. But I'm also loving like a machine incline press because you can usually push a wee bit further without failing or worrying about you're going to drop the weight on yourself. And then making sure that on top of those, like maybe 1, 2 incline movements, press movements, you've got a fly. And I think it's very, very hard to beat using a machine fly because I've tried it with dumbbells in the past and it kind of just hurts my shoulders. But I really, really can connect well with my chest when I'm doing it on the fly. So I don't really worry about exercise selection too much and more worry about, have I pushed hard enough to grow muscle? Am I training close to failure or have I just kind of half-arsed that? Have I not pushed hard enough, taken too long of a rest period, faffed around, and my muscle isn't actually fatigued or I've not increased my strength? That to me is far more important than, oh, what is the most optimum exercise? Because at the end of the day, it really does come down to, are you sending muscle building signals? Right now, I've been loving training triceps. I've had some tennis elbow, like tendonitis on my elbow. However, for the last couple of weeks, it's kind of like subsided. And the gym got this new tricep extension that's like a preacher curl, which has been absolutely badass because I can press hard on it and not worry about pain. So I've been able to go heavy. I've then been loving those like cross the body tricep extensions. And on that session, just because it was a deload, I just decided to finish off with a wee bit more arms because the arms are a smaller muscle. And I didn't have to really worry about creating too much fatigue. So my chest workout right now is like a shoulder exercise, 3 chest exercises, then 2 to 3 tricep exercises, and we're done. This week is a deload week before I get into a nice cut. So this is the last week of the bulk. Deloading to get rid of any niggles, to make sure I'm feeling fresh going into the cut. So it has been, or I'll be on 4,000 calories for the rest of the week. Then we'll start slowly tapering down. So trying to just utilise all those extra calories this week. And then we are gonna get absolutely shredded, absolutely yoked. That session there was, sometimes it's really difficult as a gym rat to not go all in all the time, to not push as hard as you possibly can. But I managed to get a couple of good sets, half the volume that I'd usually do, so it was quite a quick workout. And we managed to push a wee bit more in triceps because they're not too fatiguing. So quite fun, and then post-workout meal is going to go down, which is probably going to be either eggs or a chicken wrap. But while I was in the gym, someone that had been to the gym before came up and was asking for some help. And then last week I had 2 new people start with Renegade, start with working inside Renegade. So 2 new clients. I was really thinking about the journey of starting your fitness journey, and then was kind of reflecting on where I'm at now. And very much people live their entire lives working, getting home from work, being so fatigued from work
that they don't really get much else done. So they feel like they're living just to work, just to earn money, just to pay the bills. And when you're in that position, it can be extremely overwhelming to try and add anything else on. It can be extremely overwhelming to think about, well, trying to balance work, trying to balance having a relationship, trying to balance going to the gym, trying to balance trying to eat well and maybe have a relationship, having fun, seeing your mates. All of these things sounds extremely overwhelming. And just one of those things can be a massive hurdle when you first start. And if you're in that position, if you're right now really kind of unhappy where you're at, struggling with your body composition, struggling with the way you look in the mirror, and struggling with trying to change it, then listen up. If you're a wee bit more advanced, listen as well, because I've got some tips and takeaways that will be really important for you too, and it will allow you a chance to reflect. So I know what it's like to feel like you've got a lack of time, to feel like you're in a position that it's hard to get out of, a hole, a feeling desperate. And when you're there, your bar is set so low for yourself that trying to go to the gym 3 times feels like I've just asked you to climb the wall of China, right? But what is extremely important is that you start by doing one thing at a time. You assess, you see what you can do better. So follow along with me. So you don't go to the gym, you want to get fitter, you manage to get to the gym 3 times your first week. Phenomenal, well done. What do you do from there? Well, maybe you start cleaning up your nutrition and your diet a wee bit. So you stop the takeaways, you stop snacking and things, you try and eat a wee bit better. Amazing. Okay, how can we get better again? Maybe you start prioritizing protein, maybe you start meal prepping. Great. From there, maybe you just start tracking your calories because you're already meal prepping anyway. From there, you start weighing yourself, you start maybe trying to see a weight increase if you're trying to build muscle, start to see the weight decreasing by going into a slight calorie deficit. And see if I said to you at the very, very start of your journey, before you even started going to the gym, right, I need you meal prepping every single night dinner right now for next week. You're like, what the fuck? I can't do that. I don't even know where to begin. I don't know where to start with that. However, when you start to implement these things, start to learn, start to put yourself outside that comfort zone, that is going to be the hardest part. It absolutely is. The initial steps it takes to get to the gym, to start understanding and eating better, and getting better nutrition, understanding nutrition, to start living a better lifestyle, to start and going to bed earlier, waking up earlier. All of those things are tremendously difficult at the beginning. As you build momentum, they start to get easier. You start to find your feet and make sure that you're continuously doing these things. So when you first start tracking calories, it can be really, really overwhelming. When you then start learning about macros, it can be another overwhelming thing. But then you start figuring out it's not that difficult. You can then start taking control of your macros and your calories, and you start seeing the results you want. You then start to realize, you know what, I've just cut. I might go into a bulk. All of these things take time, it's evolution, and it's a snowballing effect. And what is really, really important to remember when you're trying to balance your life out is if you were juggling 3 balls, throwing them up in the air, I can't juggle, I can only juggle 2. But if you're juggling 3 balls, if you dropped one of those balls, you wouldn't then immediately throw the other 2 away, or you're not a failure. It's just you're slightly out of balance. You need to kind of fix your technique. Make sure that you've got your timings right. And that there is really, really important to make sure there will be times in your life where you might allocate a wee bit more time to work. You might allocate a wee bit more time to your partner. You might then have to allocate a wee bit more time to the gym if things have slipped a wee bit too far. But what I love is that I get to see this evolution hands-on, one-to-one. Because when a client first starts working with me, particularly at the beginning, like I set very basic habits daily. So like make sure you're getting 8 to 9 hours sleep. Make sure you are drinking your water. Make sure that you are trying to eat more protein. These like very, very simple habits. From there, I can then see the progression. I can then, okay, they're sleeping. Hey, I don't need to tell them to sleep anymore. I can now, what's the evolution to drinking water? Well, make sure they're taking their supplements with their water. And all of these things stack and compound. But the most amount of results you'll ever get is from the things that are the basics. Implementing cool strategies do work. They will get you further down the line. But the majority of your results are always going to come from the things that you do at the beginning, because you're not going to stop doing those things. And I think that's a really, really important lesson to learn. And if you look at the biggest athletes in the world, the most famous athletes in the world, the things that we do to see results are the things that they do. They'll make sure that they sleep. They'll make sure that they track their nutrition. They'll make sure that they work out and do all of those things. Maybe in a world-class gym, or maybe with world-class trainers, or maybe in a different environment. But the basics are there. They track their nutrition. They do their workouts. They rest and recover. They make sure they're not too stressed out. So I think it's really, really important. And if you are struggling with your routine, implement one thing, see how it goes, then say, where can I do better tomorrow? Where can I do better next week? And if you don't know where to start, I totally get that too. And that's why I built the programs I have, and I've got you covered. So if you are interested, then click the link below, because I've got an application form down there. But if you are maybe more advanced, maybe you've been going to the gym for a couple of years and seen some results, I love the saying, you only know what you know. So there's always something more you can learn, there's always something more you can implement to get that wee bit further, to get that wee bit more advanced results, to refine. And a lot of times, I don't have to teach people new things, I just have to remind people of the things that got them there. And again, that's really important too. What you learn at the start is really, really important, because you're going to have to keep those up consistently. And if you realise that that's the lifestyle, that's the journey, that is what you're trying to do, build habits for your lifestyle, you're going to reap the benefit in everything. You're going to show up more, you're going to have more energy, you're going to be happier. All of these things will allow you to then balance your life more. Because if you show up to your partner in a better mood, then you're going to have a deeper connection with them. If you work harder, you're going to work more efficiently, and you can spend more time with them. If you're a more active lifestyle, you can do more active things with your friends. And you realise that your bar is no longer set so low. You have developed and grown as a person as you've gone on your fitness journey, and you've taken your bar much, much higher. So if this video has resonated with you, please don't forget to drop a like below. Don't forget to subscribe. I'd love to hear some of the things that you maybe struggle with at the start that you're smashing now. Or I'd love to hear about how you have overcome trying to balance life in the comments below. Don't forget to DM me on Instagram as well. The link will be below to that. I'd love to chat one-on-one with you about where you maybe started and where you are now. So have a phenomenal day. I hope this helps someone. And yeah, let's make sure you're smashing your gym progress.